over 40 years reading experience combined, ethical, heartfelt readings. Most of all, we want to give you some interesting topics as well as read on those issues that may be keeping you up at night. And we will read with intention to be able to give you clarity and not negativity. So understanding that sometimes honesty can be a little bit difficult to hear, but I think part of being a spiritual diplomat for all readers is to be able to say the hard things in soft ways. There is no reason anybody has to blurt anything negative that will make people upset. You can say what you need to say, and please know this also works in life. Hey, Joseph, how are you?
Hey, hi, AnnMarie. Hi, everybody.
Yeah. So
it's a beautiful day over here. It really is.
Oh, it's glorious here too.
Got my wash hanging on the line and everything.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yes. It was 77 here today.
Wow.
So, yeah, so we were like, but then next week we're supposed to get 4 days of rain and possible snowstorm. So, it's a little good with a little bad, but I think that's part of the barometric pressure balancing out, isn't it? You want it to do a balancing act.
We'll be down to 40 by Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're down to 40 by Wednesday, but right now it's 70, so we're enjoying it.
Yes, and nighttime. So I thought today we might discuss, and I can hear the cards going click, 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 click.
Well, I'm just preparing myself mentally. That's all.
Yeah, some of the things
Cleansing
I wanted.
the card deck, kind of just freeing it for the first person that we do a reading for.
Yeah, and so today I wanted to discuss portals and vortexes. Now, how are, if you want to think about a portal, the best way to look at that, I read here, was to look at it as a physical door, allowing you to pass from outside to inside your house, or vice versa, or a staircase, allowing you to travel up or down. So a portal being from the fourth dimension to access our dimension. A large change in energy usually precedes the formation of a portal to the spirit world. Now, one of the things that I thought was interesting was a question I heard by somebody that said, can tarot cards create a portal of energy? And I would say no, they cannot.
Only if you live inside of a Roger Zelazny novel. Because he was a science fiction writer. He had passed away some time ago. But he wrote a wonderful, it was a quadology. There were 5 books about this family that was mystical, and their world was supposedly the one true world, and everything else was a reflection of that world in a different time or an alternate universe. And they traveled by means of tarot cards, which were drawn to represent members of their own family. Yeah, they were a bunch of psychics and mystical sorts, but they were not immortal, but they lived for a very long time. And so they had these powers, and if they wanted to communicate with each other, they would pull out this tarot card that had an illustration of one of their siblings on it, and then they gaze at it, and then it would be like like being on your iPhone. It would be like that, and plus that if you both concentrated enough, if they let you through, then you could go to where they're at by means of these tarot cards. And so if you've ever read Roger Zelazny or haven't heard of him, read some of his works. I believe that particular quadology is called the Amber Chronicles, or the Chronicles.
Amber Chronicles. Interesting.
The world is called Amber, and I think the first book is called 9 Princes in Amber, And then the series after that point was carried on in another, in another series was written by his son. But
how cool is that? That's very cool.
Yeah, it's a very easy read. He has a very light way of writing, and it moves pretty quick. I have to say, it's swashbuckling. There's a lot of action.
Oh.
It's very interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting sort of tale. But do read it. But no, in reality, in our reality, I don't know of them as being portholes. But
Well, you know, I thought I was looking that up, and it's
yeah.
There's an actually
That would be interesting.
a forum called Eclectic Tarot Forum, and one of the questions somebody asked, named Alta, was, I have long suspected that the particular one is a oh no, wait, that was the answer. The question was, can giving tarot readings open portals? And the answer by someone named Alta was, I have long suspected that the particular one is a lovely movie and TV plot device, not to be confused with reality, and used by people who are looking for anything, however fantastical, to dissuade you from tarot, especially sometimes churches. And this is what I find so interesting. The concept of the word reading is to look at a symbol and create a picture. What do we do every single day? We all read every single day. And by looking at these
emoticons, I mean, the emojis and all that, all the pictographs, and just like the hieroglyphics that we used to use a long time ago. Actually, we've kind of gone back to that, only now, instead of carving it, we're tapping it out, or it's showing, we're using electronics. So it's kind of weird. We've gone forward and backward at the same time.
Yeah, but when you think about it, the entire alphabet is nothing but symbols. And when you put all those symbols together, what happens? They create a vision or picture in your mind. Hello, that is called reading. And if you want to know what it's like to read tarot, just replace the alphabet with the symbols of pictures. And you will know exactly what reading is, because all that is different about tarot and reading the alphabet is that you're reading pictures that are connecting your subconscious and your conscious together with your natural intuition and creating the visions just like you would do by putting squiggles and stuff from the alphabet together to create a plot or a vision. So it's always interesting to me that so many people equate tarot reading, but they don't think of themselves reading the alphabet as a form of reading symbols. And this reader says also, or this person in the forum says, have you ever experienced going into a portal after a tarot reading? Did you experience anything mysterious occurring in your home after you were reading tarot cards? And the answer to that was, right after a tarot reading or in any way linked to tarot, no. I suspect that most of us, especially the type of people that are probably asking this question or interested in this, do indeed experience a certain amount of inexplicable happenings just because they're tuned into it. But it's not necessarily because of the cards. It's because you're tuned into it. Have you ever seen table tipping?
You mean whether the table is actually moving? Like it's actually like moving around? Is that what you mean? No, I've never actually seen it in person. No.
I have never seen it in person, but I had a friend who was really into table tipping, and they would get together, and that table would answer questions, and it would shake and shimmer and coast around and everything. But
I don't
they,
think I'd want that to happen in my house.
yeah, I'm very. He
What
finally
if
got
it
to
doesn't
this.
stop? But what if it starts up while you're playing? I don't know, having dinner.
Even oh no,
Oh,
the
look, I made
table.
a house of cards. Oh, no. Thank you so
Even
much.
even the Long Island medium was invited to a house where table tipping was going on. And she was completely freaking out because she was a complete skeptic, like, oh, yeah, right. And she was touching the
Yeah.
table with all these people, and it was like bouncing and sliding and stuff. So, but they answer questions with it like a Ouija board. So,
Yeah,
anyway,
I wouldn't want to communicate with the dead, really. That's not my thing. And
yeah, I
I'm not really
understand.
quite sure how that would work anyway, because I've always thought that, like, say, I don't know anything about it. I don't know how it would work. I have no idea. It's a concept that I don't get, but people do it, or they say they can. Or for all I know, they may be just picking up on the last thoughts that were there, you
Right,
know,
right.
and not much else, because regardless of what you believe or what really does happen, you kind of just take off. I mean, you're not that person really anymore, because all of that identity is gone. It's all a part of what goes away, and what's left is, I would
Residual
imagine,
energy.
well, what's
Residual.
left, yeah, I mean, of that particular existence. That's what's left. That is that, like,
So,
recording,
so
or that leftover thought that wasn't, But yeah, like, it's there, it's just hanging there, maybe, or left an imprint or something. Because I don't know if a soul would stick around and still try to be that person. I don't know if they would be able to do that. I think sometimes there's a lot of things that happen. I don't know. I sometimes think that perhaps at some point we're just kind of like sucked along in places. I have no idea if we have that kind of control after we're gone, or I don't know how to comment on it.
have you
You know,
ever watched
yeah.
Ghost Adventures or The Dead Files?
Oh yeah, sometimes.
Then what do you
I
think
don't
about
watch them all the
intelligent?
time.
What do you think
Yeah.
about intelligent energy?
Well, yeah, there's definitely something there, and there. I think that there. I would guess that there are true hauntings where that personality and that person is holding it together electrically, with electricity, and maintaining that sort of persona, and thinking that they're there, or just knowing exactly what they're doing. They're hanging around or waiting. you know, I don't know. It's odd. I mean, there are times that um, electricity most when it came, like, soon after my father passed away, and that was the first time we lost anybody in our immediate family, was my father. So that was very traumatic, and it seemed like it was a big deal, energy wise, to me. Um, I was having electrical problems, like right before, and then for thereafter, with my phone, having to do with the house that they lived in. It was just, things were acting weird. Things with electricity were just not, all sorts of odd things. And actually, too, at one point, it was something really odd happened. My car was hit by a bolt of lightning while I was driving to a friend's house. And
Mm.
it is the strangest. If you want to know what it's like, actually, there is a very accurate video demonstration of what it's like to be in a car that's struck by lightning. Somebody actually
What is it like?
recreated it. It's scary, because you hear it sounds like a whole bunch of, like, metal scraping all over your car, just like. And
Wow.
and everywhere there's blue streaks everywhere through the window, and it's very loud, and you think it doesn't. I didn't get a shock or anything. It was very scary. I wasn't quite sure what happened at first. I thought maybe I drove by something that was struck by lightning. You know, like there was one of those ComEd box there. I mean, one of those power grid things nearby. Not power grid, which I forgot what they're called. I thought maybe that happened, and I actually 911 to tell that I just drove by something that blew. You know, and they're like, oh, really? Well, that's weird. They didn't really react the way I thought they would. And they said, oh, well, we'll check it out. And then I saw this demonstration. And I thought, oh, my God, that's what happened. That's what it's like. That is what it's like. Because I didn't realize what had happened until someone actually recreated this. And it's very strange. Yeah, but all sorts of strange things were happening. Even with my car, the electricity was weird. Even before that, odd things would go. Certain lights wouldn't work, and I'd take it in because I had tried everything, changed fuses, changed bulbs. They say, oh, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And it's like, they show me, I go, well, what the heck? You know, and I get it home, I drive it for a couple of days, and the same thing happens again, you know. And it was never happening when I was and just all sorts of so I would guess that it's when, you know, in that case I thought perhaps my father was still around, and it was a very powerful electrical presence and all around, you know, just very, you know, around. And it did seem to grow more distant as time went on, and of course all that went away over the years.
I do feel they say there's about a 2-week time frame after the death of a loved one where their energy does seem to become almost cause electrical things to happen, or if there's a dream message or a presence, it's likely to happen the first 2 weeks. But one of the things also that I wanted to discuss is, when should readers not read for others? Now, I have to give an interesting story here, but please, if I feel kind of guilty giving this because I'm not indulging names, okay?
No, yeah, we don't. Yeah.
There was a person that called me on the phone that was extremely worried that they were obsessed by a demon. And of course, I don't do things like that. In fact, I possessed. She felt that she had
possessed.
Yeah, but the way she put it is that she felt she was had a demon attachment, and she wanted to come for a reading at the studio. And I called her and said, "No, please don't. I don't want you at my studio." But I said I'm very sensitive, and I pick up attachments really easily, which is why I don't go to houses that carry a lot of negative energy. But anyway, she said, yeah, she says, I'm a Reiki healer. And she says, I feel concerned because I'm still doing Reiki. And I thought, if there was ever a time not to do energy work on other people, it would be when you feel that you are carrying negative demon energy. But, you know, another thing is that I also think this goes into not only just spiritual work, but for people who read tarot, about 75% of what you're energetically putting into the cards is based on the attitude you read in. So if you're a light worker or a positive, caring, nurturing person, 75% of your reading is going to be based on that energy. On the other hand, if you're sick and you feel negative and you feel tired and you hate the world, you're going to see about 75% of the same thing in your reading. So if you're feeling
Right.
that way, that is not the time to do Reiki. It is not the time to be working on people energetically. And it is certainly not the time to give tarot readings, because like does attract like,
Yeah.
and you will warp your way of looking at things. And so, all I'm saying is that if you are a reader or an energy worker, please do not work on people when you are feeling tired, sick, negative, or especially carrying demons. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I
Well,
don't know
having a
what.
demon would interfere with your social life too, definitely, and just in general, let alone trying to do anything spiritual or healing with energy.
I really.
I would say a person would have to almost isolate themselves to keep themselves from creating problems in that respect. Maybe, I don't know, until they work it out.
Well, I mean,
I
there's.
hope that it works out for her.
Oh, I do too. I sent her a website that is filled with some of the best exorcists and paranormal audios that she can learn from, and she could. And I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. I should probably put it on the site, but it is. If you're living in a small area or an area, the last thing you want is people that are not professional pretending to be exorcists or things like that. Because, the thing is, I'm not completely sure what. There's a lot of focus about demons lately, and people that are suddenly saying that their depression or their bipolarism is a demon, when actually it's actually a chemical thing going on in the brain. But I think that we're starting to get to the point, almost like the old witch days, where there's an obsession with the paranormal and demons. And I feel that we really need to be careful about what we are calling demons, and if we are typecasting actual depression and bipolar tendencies to be demons, because I don't know. I've been very uncomfortable about all of a sudden this huge popularity about demons, and have you
Ghost
noticed that?
hunting. Mm-hmm.
I love ghost hunting, but like they say, you can do more harm than good with an amateur ghost hunting. When you wake up the energy of negativity that was laying dormant, that is not a good thing if you're trying to record it and do all kinds of things for the person that may be living in that house, that has filled that house with love or filled that house with their family energy. And all of a sudden you're doing ghost readings and looking for recordings.
Well, the problem is that it's done. They need to have something happen, and otherwise their show wouldn't be fun to watch. And so they kind of stir things up, I think, and that's not. I think they're not concerned about that, because then they think, well, so much the better, awesome, maybe we can get it on film.
Yeah, and
It's sort of like. Well, maybe I suppose there might be a few times where it's something that was undeterminable. Like, oh well, we just think that it's this, it's some structural problem. Um, I just don't see the point in investigating, say, a place like an asylum that's closed for a long time and it's in ruin. First of all, it's very dangerous, and I'm sure everybody has to sign a whole bunch of forms, disclaimers, like, because you're not supposed to be there. And what we're asking to do is to remove these structures if they're not going to be rehabbed or in any way. if they have no value and if they are hazards, and they're bad, to just tear them down and just put nothing there for a while. You know, have a green space or something. You know, just or I wouldn't build on anything like that right away. You know, I think over time it might be.
I personally do believe, I believe that the hauntings are not necessarily coming from the structure. They're coming from the land that the structure was placed on, because that land has been there since eons, filled with whatever kind of energy, wars, you know, negativity that has been on it. And we know how to go out and do these wonderful little mathematical assessments for the structure of the house and whether it's level, but we haven't yet learned how to assess what the energy structure of that land is. And I think that a lot of places are just, they become a portal for whatever was on the land. And then they get filled with all the diarrhea and junk that was from the land. And my sense is that junk and spiritual diarrhea attracts more junk and spiritual diarrhea. And pretty soon, you have a problem. So anyway.
Well, you know, there are some things that, you know, are that I don't like to, you know, those types of shows so much because, like I said, show, and it is done for that build-up and entertainment value, you know, and hopefully, you know, they can get something on film or on tapes. Hopefully they can get some EVPs and stuff. And however, I do think that the whole paranormal, the research and all of that is really fascinating. I mean, it's one of the things I like about it is because they, you know, they admit they don't know. They, you know, it's like, well, if there's a natural reason for it, we'll find out, and then the mystery solved. And if not, you know, then we haven't solved the mystery yet. But that doesn't mean it's not a mystery. You know, it's like we just don't know what it is. And if it is something mystical or spiritual, well, then we'll find out. You know, it's not going to take anything away from anything. But I do like the fact that they do research it, and they use a lot of technology to try to capture, you know, like if there is a change, you know, and they measure everything of that, because it does mean that, yes, there is a change happening and there is something happening, you know, rather than saying, gee, I feel cold. Yes, it really has gotten cold in here. And now we have needles going crazy. There's an energy change in this room. So that's why I love all that, because there is a way, it does kind of nail it down a bit. It does prove that something is happening. We don't know what it is, but I mean, call it ghosts. You know, how does it work? I mean, I have an open mind. I always figure, look, if you get a picture of it, that means it did occupy space and light did reflect off of it. Otherwise, it never would have shown up on film. You know, it just wouldn't work that way. You know, so, you know, something has to be exposed, heat, energy, electricity, upon something that is receptive to heat, light, energy, like film is receptive. So it's highly possible that, yeah, you could probably photograph a spirit.
Now I'm froze.
Uh-oh.
Now we're back
and your
to
mouth
normal.
was open, too. So you have to make sure you don't open your mouth too much. Or don't make a face, because it will stay there.
I know. I hate that on Skype when you're going, oh.
Yeah, so they're like it for the whole hour, and that's what. Right. And then I use it for a screen ad for the show. You know, watch me and AnnMarie on, and you have the space.
Yeah.
That's froze.
We have error contacting. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's saying error contacting server, error contacting server. I'm not sure if.
Okay here.
Yeah, can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
And I could see and hear everything fine.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, today I do want to remind people that you can call into the show, or you can in Quickas. It's a quiet day. Probably everybody's running around naked outside in the warm weather. Yay!
I can't blame you. I'd be out on I would do this from the patio, but it's a little windy, and my
Yes,
cards would
it
be
is.
blowing all over the place.
I know it. I know it. So there's
And my
nobody
hair,
to
I'd
read.
have to tie down my hair.
Yep. So we have nobody in the room at this point. That's about the first time ever. And so I do want to tell everybody, in case you want to call in, the number is 602 666 6027 to call in for a reading, or you can Skype us by going to Achieve Radio Studio A. I have left that kind of link there for you. So I'm not sure what's going on in the room here today, but I do know that our topic today was, you know, vortexes. And what is the vortex?
I'm not sure about that. There are certain places, I guess, in our world there that they call vortexes or have vortexes. Arizona Sedona is in the vortex.
Oh, yeah, Sedona is supposed to be, yeah.
Don't really quite understand what that means. Yeah, I brother lived there for about a year, maybe about 2 years, and he said, yeah, there's a different feel to it. But it's indefinable, I suppose.
Here is the.
If somebody knows about that, I really.
Well, I'm at a place now. It says. Have you ever noticed when you've walked in an area of unusual temperature change, where it's a more vivid color than the surrounding area? There's a blurring, perhaps, or a sense of enhanced energy. Well, you may have stumbled across an energy vortex, which houses a spirit or interdimensional portal. So it sounds like the vortex itself houses the portal. So it says in technical terms, a spirit portal is a reign of space that has a four-dimensional vibrancy frequency, where this region of three-dimensional physical plane and the four-dimensional etheric plane merge into each other by the aid of an energy vortex. In simple terms, a spirit portal is a doorway in the physical world that allows free access to and from the spiritual world, and that there is an area of mass energy in a high concentration that is magnetic. The vortexes tend to exist where there are strong concentrations of gravitational anomalies. This in turn creates an area that can bend light and cause a considerable distortion in the human energy form. They have also been shown to be associated with ley lines and have been found to be considerably stronger at node points where several ley lines cross. So vortexes and portals can be categorized according to a direction and nature of energy flow. Two examples are upflow vortexes are positive portals, and this is where the energy is flowing upward out of the earth. These vortexes are generally revitalizing and feel positive. The energy here feels more electric than magnetic and is said to boost spiritual skills, to stretch and expand the consciousness. But inflow vortexes are negative portals, and this is where the energy is flowing inward towards the earth. The energy here feels heavier and more negative if unprepared for its downward impact. When this happens and you're near a inflowing vortex, instead of rejuvenation, a sense of fear and anxiety is experienced. And so, vortexes are linked with female or yin energy and are best for healing and self realization. So, if you encourage a negative portal, you will feel like you're in the middle of a hurricane of negative energy. You will feel angry, hate, fear, jealousy, and depression. And highly sensitive people will become victims of nightmares and feelings of oppression as the negative entities make use of this portal. And so, that's kind of an upward vortex, positive, uplifting, and downward inflowing, negative, fearful. So, it's all just speculation, really, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. But it's interesting.
It's very interesting. So,
see, portals are interesting. There are many theories, and some people have actually claimed that some people have just disappeared by walking into a portal and just
I have heard that.
never seen again. There's one famous one where there was a man working in this field. He had a farm. He was a farmer, and I guess they were calling him home for dinner or something, and he just disappeared. They were right in the middle of the field, and they never found him again. And of course, there's an explanation, but nobody had. And it happens where people just disappear, whether or not someone just, or they just disappear.
And the last thing heard from them is, I'm going to go get a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
I'm just kidding.
I'll meet you out here in 5 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to go out for a pack of smokes. Well, it's an oldie.
Do you remember Paul Harvey? Paul Harvey?
Yeah.
And that's the rest of the story. He had a story one day about, and I've always liked Paul Harvey's stories, and this was a long time ago. And I remember he was telling the story about how people were walking on the sidewalk and driving down the road, and this man dressed in a 1920s suit, holding his watch and looking around him frantically, got hit by a car.
Oh.
He had no idea what these things were, or just the fast-paced stuff. He was overwhelmed and just going, it's like he had no idea where he was. And when they checked his identity, all the money he was carrying were brand new dollar bills from the 1920s. His identification was all from the 1920s. And so that would go along with the story that you're saying, or that people can disappear into, I always say, time warps, or remember the story.
They end up in some other like world. I mean, that's pretty weird, I remembered hearing about that story before, because I always liked reading about odd things, so it's only natural I would come across something
right
again. But actually, you have to accept the fact. Well, of course, it could have been a hoax. Someone could have accosted this guy and dressed him up and then shoved him outside, I don't know.
That'd be an awful thing to do to someone.
You have to consider what the original source is too. And sometimes if it's a tabloid, cheaper tabloids, sometimes I think, well, that's the only place I ever saw that story and mentioned. It makes me wonder. It's all these things you have to kind of consider. I know there are videos. there are on YouTube. There are somebody's collected photographs, very old photographs, and there's always something in it that's odd, an anomaly of sorts, something that doesn't belong there. It appears that some people have cell phones in their hands, or that it looks like they're holding up a device, and it's 1940, you know. So
Right. Yeah, I've
I
seen
don't know
pictures
what
like
they're
that.
doing. For all I know, it could have been like a hearing device, a general hearing device, like a little thing, like a horn or something. I don't know. I have no idea why somebody would walk with their hand up like that or be seen, but I have no idea, you know.
Bill,
So
Bill, Bill just left a comment, and he said a Sedona resident told him once on Achieve that the only vortex in Sedona was the one created by the suction of all the tourist money being sucked up.
that's funny.
Thanks, Bill.
That's really funny.
But you know, I have talked to people that have gone to Sedona. Bill says there are lots of reports of internet issues around the country, and based on the comments by Doug and Tamara, I think it's just, wait a minute. Okay. Okay, all the, I can't find, okay. Oh, there are a lot of reports of internet issues around that country based on the comments by Doug and Tamara. I think it's just systematic issues today. Our server reports no issues. Oh, he's just talking about the problem that we're having with the internet.
Oh.
And anyway, I guess I have never been in Sedona, but I know there are a group. I have talked to people that have had amazing journeys, spiritual journeys, where they go and go with a spiritual group, and they go into these caves, or they go into these places that. What is Sedona? What is the history of Sedona? Is it Native American? Okay.
I would say, being the Southwest, it would be. I would be Native American.
Yeah.
Much of our Southwest, all of there's quite a bit of it. I was just typing it in here just to see if I could find something.
Yeah.
Actually, my brother took many beautiful, lovely pictures of Sedona while he was there, and very, very striking. Well, now Sedona, according to Wikipedia, it's a city that straddles the county between Coquino and Yavapai counties in the northern Verde Valley region of the U.S. state of Arizona. As of the 2010 census, its population was 10,031. The Sedona's main attraction is its array of red sandstone formations. The formations appear to glow in a brilliant orange and red when illuminated by the rising and setting sun. The red rocks form a popular backdrop for many activities, ranging from spiritual pursuits to the hundreds of hiking and mountain biking trails. Sedona was named after Sedona Arabella Miller Schnelby, 1877 to 1950, and she was the wife of Theodore Carleton Schnelby, the city's first postmaster, who was celebrated for her hospitality and industriousness. Her mother, Amanda Miller, claimed to have made the name up because, quote, it sounded pretty. So,
Sedona.
Native American history, though. Here it is. The first documented human presence in the Sedona area dates to between 11,500 and 9,000 BC.
Oh, wow.
11,500 and 9,000, 1,100, I'm sorry. 11,900 BC. That's a long time ago. It was not until 1995 that a Clovis projectile point discovered in Honanki revealed the presence of the Paleo Indians who were big game eaters. Yeah, paleo.
Oh my goodness, like the paleo diet.
Yes, yes, yes. Around 9,000 BC, the prehistoric archaic people, archaic, okay, appeared in the these were the hunter-gatherers, and the presence in the area was longer than in other areas of the Southwest, most likely because of the ecological diversity and a large amount of the resources. Left by 300 AD, there is an assortment of rock art left by the archaic people in places near Sedona, such as Palatki and Hodonki. Interesting. So it's, of course you could read this. I'm sure you don't want to hear me read the entire article, but it goes back a way. So there's a lot of reasons. I mean, there is a lot of red, and it is very pretty. I mean, red and browns, and
it's gorgeous.
It's very predominant in the pictures that I've seen, and also some really interesting flora. Yes, plant life, and I don't know. I guess. Oh yes, he was bitten by a scorpion. That was an experience for him. But that's his story to tell, not mine. That's never.
It says also that Sedona has long been regarded as a place of both sacred and powerful, and is a cathedral without walls. It is Stonehenge not yet assembled. Okay. People travel from all across the globe to experience the mysterious cosmic forces that are said to emanate from the red rocks, and they come in search of the vortexes. What is a vortex? Sedona vortex is the proper grammatical form is rarely used, are thought to be swirling centers of energy that are conducive to healing, meditation, and self-exploration. And these are places where Earth seems especially alive with energy. Have you heard something? I was looking at, keen psychics only, and there was somebody that was saying that the magnetic field of the Earth, because of the tilting of the Earth, is going into a completely different energy realm, and there are going to be people that that animals are starting to freak out, and people are starting to become more emotional, and there's going to be a conscious shift because of this magnetic change. And I thought, oh crap, I don't believe a bit of it. And then I was looking into the magnetic field of the Earth and it says GPSs are going to go wonky, and that things like that, which
well, it stands to reason that we would be affected, because the radiation that protects our atmosphere and just the way the whole magnetic field that we have, that protects us. Extremely powerful radiation. I mean, we would not be able to live here if we didn't have this barrier. If we're shifting, we're going to notice it. I mean, actually, if it's really slow and gradual, it shouldn't be a problem, because that's to be expected, because that's just the nature of the way planets in general. It wouldn't be surprising. Besides, ours is rather unique, Ours is unique, and that's why we're here, is because ours is unique. And there might be another one like us. It would be a hard find, that's for sure. Everything has to be just right, and and everything for us to be here. So it matters. It matters. I wouldn't. I mean, I'd say even naturally and scientifically, I would suspect that it would matter a lot. And
it says
if we shift very suddenly, it could be. I could see that's going to be like really.
No, they say it's shifting. They're saying it's shifting very fast. I mean, it says what they're saying is the FAA orders airports to change runway names once they've changed so much that they'll no longer round to the same number. So, for example, a runway called 36 wouldn't change if the degrees off north went from 355 to 359. But if it went down to 354, it'd be rounded down to 35. Well, why does that matter? I suppose if you're flying a plane, and probably Bill would know about this, I'm not sure how the magnetic energy of the Earth affects planes and their compasses, or they're not their compasses, but their GPA.
Their controls.
Their
controls. Their communications. That makes it a broader category.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, it just seems, and as far as I'm concerned, and I was reading Eric Linter's newest astrological posting about the shift in energy that's coming due to the magnetic changes and stuff. And he was saying, get ready, there's going to be a whole different emotional peculiarity in people and animals as the properties change, which I'm not sure if that's accurate, if that can really happen, but I know animals are supposed to feel earthquakes and things like that, aren't they? And dogs are supposed to say hit the ground fast.
Well, yeah, dogs know when storms are coming, and they could tell what's coming or what Bugsy doesn't want to be outside if it's really windy and if it's about to storm, even if it's a beautiful day, up to that point. And it's just like, oh, too windy, it's coming, I'm going inside. They don't know that's animals have a good sense. And actually they tend to know before we do anyway, Well,
I would say that if there's anything if there's anything magnetically happening here in the prairie, it seems to be pretty good. I mean, the animals are happy, and just like the people are happy, and I'm sure that all of these things are going to be affected by magnetic things, but there does seem to be a something happening. I'm not sure what it is, but as a intuitive empath, I do feel that there is a shift happening, but I'm not sure if it's good. I feel like
I'm not sure if it's one of these things where there's a certain sort of something. Everything feels a bit off. Everything seems.
It does. It feels
everything
off.
That's happening is off, and it is an odd feeling. Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, but it feels. I'm looking at the changes in styles of spirituality. I'm looking at the obsession with demons and with spiritual hauntings and things. I'm looking at how the past repeats itself. I worry that with so much emphasis on hauntings and portals and supernatural negative things happening, that it's going to create a negative. 7 minutes left and the music's starting. Oh, well. Okay. Yes, well, the change is coming.
Hi, I'm AnnMarie. Welcome to Achieve Holistic, Spiritual,